All right, we're live. Awesome. Well, hey everyone, my name is Alex George. I'm the head of marketing here at Hint Health, and today I'm happy to invite Eric Caballero, CEO and founder of JumpStart DPC Solutions, on to the call. We're going to talk a little bit about branding essentials for your DPC. But to get started, Eric, welcome. I'd love to just kind of introduce you and have you talk a little bit about your practice and business.
Absolutely. So thank you for having me. I appreciate the Hint team hosting the webinar. But yeah, so like Alex said, my name is Eric Caballero. I am the founder of JumpStart DPC Solutions. So it's a full service marketing and consulting agency that deals just with direct primary care practices. It's all we do. And that was really born out of a love and a passion for DPC. And so it's evident by everything that we do, all of the services that we provide to direct primary care practices and physicians, and the mission that we have. So
Yeah.
yeah, very happy to be here and kind of talk over those branding essentials and some of the other offerings.
Yeah, and Jumpstart DPC Solutions is one of our marketing partners here at Hint. If you're not familiar with the Hint ecosystem, we have a number of different marketing partners, folks that we promote that are truly dedicated to the DPC movement and what we're doing here at Hint to support them. And really cool. Actually, I was introduced to Eric about 5 or 6 months ago through Dr. Carl Erickson with Cascade DPC up in Portland. And we've kind of built a relationship since then. I'm really glad to have someone that is as dedicated to DPC as Hint is, and really focused on marketing practices, working with them to be successful and running through a number of different things. So yeah, it's just a pleasure to have you on today, Eric. And I'm excited to go ahead and jump in.
Yeah,
To get started, do you want to just tell everyone a little bit about the different services that you offer?
absolutely. So kind of first and foremost, the mission behind Jumpstart is very simple and straightforward, and that affects the services that we do offer. So the mission is just to champion the advancement of direct primary care nationwide. So because of that, we offer everything from branding services to marketing strategy, content creation when it comes to websites, and also printed material, digital presence enhancement. So when it comes to social media, print media design, there's a host of other things in addition to the operational consulting side of things that we're able to offer. So done this because in my experience with direct primary care physicians and those doctors, they get into medicine to help people, obviously, to help their patients. And so marketing and branding, as important as it might be, is sometimes seen as almost a distraction to them. So, everyone kind of has their strengths. I know I'm no physician, and that's not my forte of taking care of patients. However, I do have that extensive marketing and consulting sales background that is useful to building up those practices. So, just a little bit of the things that we do here.
Awesome. Great. And today we're going to be talking about the branding essentials for your DPC. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. You want to, I know you recently wrote a guest blog post here for Hint, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for that. And also just anyone else who's on the line who's interested in kind of getting involved with our blog and being a guest writer, we'd love to have you as a part of that. So feel free to reach out to our team and we can talk about what's the right fit there. But let's talk about branding essentials.
Let's do it. So, yeah, very happy to have been able to write the blog post. I know that it is up now on the Hint blog site. So, in that blog post, we talked about 7 different aspects of branding that are really essential to getting it right, especially for new and growing DPCs. The first one of those was defining your core values. And the reason that that is so important, it's because your core values are going to be the ways that you attract patients who have those same values as you. As most physicians know, modern healthcare has really thrown away the option for patients to tell their physicians how they like to be treated and what their values are. And so you taking the time to be clear on the practice values and your values as a physician are going to be key to branding yourself in that space. The next part of that is crafting a compelling brand story and a practice story. So I say a lot of times people love a good story. They're looking for a story. And
Yeah.
as a direct primary care physician, you have to understand that your brand is oftentimes you are your brand. Your brand story is your story. So um, I'm sure that most people watching either now live or on the recorded version know that right now patients spend between 7 and 12 minutes with their PCP, with their doctor in a room. It's not enough time for them to get to know someone, and so that's a big reason why physicians go into DPC. Um, Having the ability to actually talk to your patients and let them know why you got into medicine, letting them know why you chose to open up a practice. All of these things are things that patients really love about the DPC model, but it's also going to make patients loyal to you and the brand and the practice because they're able to know and understand you.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd kind of add on to that a little bit. Um, Oftentimes when I have the opportunity to speak with one of our customers or maybe a physician who's interested in starting a DPC practice, we talk a lot about their personal branding and their website. And I think kind of the business way of thinking about things that a lot of folks look to imitate is having this sort of like about us page on the website, right? But
Mhm.
it's not really about us. It's not about, the brand of the name of the practice. It's really about the clinicians who are in there and who are operating. So oftentimes, especially if
Absolutely.
you're a one physician practice, if they're getting started, I would say change that about us to like meet doctor
Yes.
XYZ,
Yep.
right? And like really
Meet
make
your
it more of
physician.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, make it more of that personal kind of connection. Make sure that they understand they have a relationship with you, and it's not you're just not just like a number to them, right? So I agree with you
Absolutely.
100% on that.
Absolutely. So another big part of the brand is creating and designing a distinctive logo and visual identity. And so we went through that in the blog post as well. Uh, Logos are your practice's face to the world. You think about any successful corporation or business. I mean, they all have a very distinguishable logo that sets them apart from competitors and things like that. So they are the hallmarks of a very memorable business, a very memorable practice. And so while the patient experience is an essential part of your practice, taking care of people is an essential part of a physician's practice, the logo and visual identity is going to be essential in allowing that to stand out. And there's a lot of different things that go into whether a logo and visual brand is successful. Jumpstart and myself, I'm a big believer in the science behind it, behind things like color theory, where colors are able to affect moods and feelings and behaviors in people, and it's super interesting to dive into, but it's something that is incredibly important in going over and creating the visual identity and of the brand itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
it looks like we have a question here from Hamid. Thanks so much for chatting in here. So, broadly speaking, what's a good branding budget to set aside? I know branding and marketing can cross each other. It's hard to separate the two. Do you wanna kind of start to answer this? And I'm happy to jump in as well.
Yeah. So when you look at branding and marketing, there definitely is a crossover there. I would say the branding is on the very front end of that. So, looking, I would say price it out. As far as budget goes to see, but most times with branding, you want that to be one solid um, or one initial fee, not something that like continues on because as we'll talk about, branding and consistency in your branding is going to be the key. But at Jumpstart, what we do is there's a very flat fee that we offer to go over all of the branding essentials. So yeah, and then marketing piles on top of that and to make the practice successful moving forward.
Yeah, and I think kind of what I would just tag on to that as well, put my marketing hat on is with branding, as Eric said, it's a one-time kind of cost and expenditure. You just want to make sure that all of the aspects of kind of the brand kit that you're asking for are included in that one-time cost, right? So
Yeah.
this is going to be things from like everything from logo and your brand guide and your
Hmm.
typography, how you talk about your practice, all the things that would be included in that. And it's a very iterative process. I would say it's not something that you would just do or have an agency do by themselves. And this is one thing I love about Eric. He gets really into the weeds, gets to know you, and make sure that the way that you're talking about yourself and your branding is cohesive and consistent and how you want to be reflected. And then you have that kit moving forward so that if you decide to work with a different agency, or if you decide to bring on a marketing hire internally, you have kind of the way that you talk about yourself. You have all of your brand guide, kit, everything in one place. And what I've just seen on the open market for these types of things can be anywhere from $1,200 to $3,500 for a complete brand kit. And Eric may price himself a little bit differently, but that's just what I found in the market.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess one thing that I would add is when it comes to your branding, you look at it like building a house. I mean, if you have an existing house and you want to add on rooms or a floor, or do a complete remodel when it comes to likening that to branding, it's definitely possible, and it can be done. It's so much better if you can kind of get the blueprint, and like Alex was saying, that all of the aspects of your branding down set where you can kind of build from the ground up. And so that build from the ground up, package is super important. So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Going through now, once you kind of have that logo and visual identity, consistency is going to be key. Being consistent makes you credible. Consistency a lot of times is subconscious to most patients or most people. You don't realize it unless it's not there. Quick example that I like to use with DPCs that I work with is if you're driving by down the road, you're not looking at every Starbucks sign that you see and noticing that they're all the same. But if the lettering was cursive, or if the logo was green or blue and red instead of green, or the it was a fish instead of a mermaid, those are things that would immediately draw attention and put into question the legitimacy of the product or the service that you're going to be purchasing. So in that aspect, I would say that consistency is key across your brand. Creating the logo and the visual identity is important, but consistency is even more important to actually growing that brand. Now,
looks like we have another question that came in from Chris. Thanks so much. So how do you suggest a physician or practice demonstrate why a patient or a community should give them their trust and credibility to their practice?
That's a really great question, Chris. It's actually one that I have in my notes to talk about is the patient centric online presence. So you as a clinician or a physician should be looking at giving out the best medical advice and care advice to patients out there with your outreach, with your branding, with all of the different aspects of that. When people feel that you're genuinely engaged, when people feel that you actually care about them and the questions that they have, a lot of physicians that I see sometimes get into a bad habit of posting for themselves, or of writing content for themselves of, oh, this is my practice and this is what I can do. And that's all great. But demonstrating to the community that you actually want to help them and that you want to be a trusted source, a local physician that is that's here to really help them, builds that trust and credibility over time. That all goes into the branding aspect of it, because you're building your brand as the physician, as a trusted source and a trusted resource in the community. And so it's super, super important. But I would say consistency is a big part of that. Engaging with the community is a big part of that. And then making sure that the online presence and what you're putting out is very patient centric.
Yeah. And the one thing I might add on to that as well is it all comes back to who your ideal customer and ICP is, right? Like who you want your patients to be, what you want your membership to look like, right? So you mentioned online quite a few times there, but if you're running a practice that's primarily focused on the geriatric community, as an example, and you're trying to target them specifically, they're probably not going to be online and engaging the same way that maybe the young family of 4 or whatever that may be is engaging with you, right? So it comes back to that kind of ideal customer profile and the patient profile, who you want them to be, and then looking for different opportunities to engage with them. On the branding side, this is kind of a step beyond branding. This goes more into kind of the ongoing marketing and engagement aspect of things. But a couple doctors, if you'd like to take a look at one of them in particular, Dr. Phil Bashir, he does a great job. And his target, he's a pediatric doctor. His target audience is definitely mothers, and he kind of establishes credibility there by just constantly putting up topics that he knows are going on in around kind of family talk and in these mothers groups and things of that nature. So he can continue to just like tap in and become that reference point for people to look at. And now he has a pretty large following, even greater than what his practice could probably support, which is really cool. But it just goes to show you that it's kind of consistency, as Eric alluded to, and there's understanding who your ideal customer profile is.
Absolutely. I remember that live stream is really informative, but just to piggyback on that point, I mean, building that community presence, depending on your ideal customer profile, joining those mom groups, joining the gyms to talk about, fitness, if that's where you're at, or the community centers and things like that is also a good way to build that trust and credibility.
Let's go ahead and keep going, and we'll jump in with another question here in just a moment.
Okay. So I think the next, after making sure that the next thing was really that question, creating a patient-centric online presence. So in the digital age, the online presence is a lot of times going to be the first point of contact for a lot of your patients. So ensuring things like your website is user-friendly or mobile-friendly, ensuring that what you're putting out is informative, that it reflects the values of your direct primary care practice. And then even things like patient testimonials, showcasing your team if you have a team, highlighting the types of personalized care that you offer. All of those things really put the patient first, and getting them to learn more about you and your personal brand and the practice. Hand in hand with that is engaging with the community, like we talked about. That is, DPCs by definition are very community based. You are a pillar in your community, and so building that super strong community presence, participating in local events and health fairs and online forums like Alex mentioned. It's engaging with your community, engaging with those around you, not only increases the awareness that they have of the practice, but also it reinforces your commitment to being that local health partner, and a point where they can, a trusted resource rather. The last part that we talked about in the in the Hint blog is education and empowerment for patients. And this is so incredibly important, because your brand should be a force for patient education and empowerment. Again, one of the pillars of direct primary care. So sharing informative content on your website, on social media platforms, addressing the common health concerns, promoting preventative care, all of these positions your practice as a trusted authority in the community. So that being said, the reason why we've authored that blog post is because JumpStart is here to make sure that that branding that is in marketing afterwards is solid and effective from day one. The tips and informational guides are just a small portion of the value that JumpStart brings to DPCs looking to jumpstart that growth.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we got a couple questions I want to jump over to. I'll go ahead and address Hamid's first, because it's probably a little bit quicker one. But in terms of video content, it seems to be better engagement tool with potential patients over written or other audio content. again, I think this just comes down to who your ideal kind of member profile looks like, right?
Yeah.
If they're people who are reading the kind of the local Gazette every day, then you're going to have a better chance getting in there and getting a bio written up, or working with that local magazine or whatever it may be in order to get across there. If you're looking for regular, easy content that you can put out on a daily basis, I find that video is the simplest. Once you kind of get in the groove of
Yeah.
having those conversations with yourself a little bit and talking through them and just hitting the post button on there, getting it out there, that makes it really easy. Anything you would add on to that, Eric?
No, I think it's incredibly important to look at who the ideal customer or ideal patient is going to be. I have worked with a variety of practices, some that specialize in geriatric care, where they are wanting to print everything on your website out and read it paper in hand, and so with that, that takes a little bit more of the content creation side and actually writing and getting the written word out. But if you're looking for something quick, I mean, attention spans are short, so videos do work, and having that as an engagement tool is good. But again, just depends, and that's why working with someone who's experienced in finding those customer profiles is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, to speak to your question here, I apologize. Is it Leneth or Laneth? I apologize. I'm not familiar with the name,
Lynette,
but
yeah.
yeah. But in terms of the benefits of working with a company, particularly an agency that knows DPC versus one that doesn't, I can speak to this. When it comes, DPC is a very niche industry still, and I'm having conversations with people every day, and like many of you, I'm sure, is over the past few years, it's gone from 1 per 20 know what DPC is, 1 per 15. Now I'm about 1 per 12 people I talk to. They have an idea of what direct care is.
Yeah.
And so that comes down similarly to the agencies. Many agencies they have no idea what direct primary care is, what the benefits are. The ramp up time to get them to go from 0 to 1 and really start to be able to produce the content is going to be a lot longer. Whereas when you're working with an agency or a group that is very familiar with DPC or primarily focuses on that, they have a lot of kind of the plug and play templates, things that they've done in the past that are proven successful. And there's a little bit less of a learning curve, but also the adoption side, right? Someone like Eric's going to be able to pull from many examples of organizations he's worked with in the past, based on what your experience is and what you're looking to do with your practice. So I would lean towards these sorts of practices. And we do have a few different agencies that we work with that can be found in the Hint ecosystem as well. So if you're interested in exploring what those look like, you can check them out there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think the specialization within this niche community is super important, and finding the pitfalls especially for new DPCs that are coming online, or fee for service models that are transitioning over into direct primary care. Just really having the know-how to find the pitfalls that most new DPCs are getting themselves into, or what's a little harder, and being able to smooth those over. It really ramps up that adoption time.
Great. And then we have one more question from Emanuela. Manuela, thanks so much for writing in. So for generally young to middle adult patient demographic, how do we feel about TikTok as a means to connect? We're seeing, just kind of looking at a lot of our practices and customers, that TikTok is a very effective platform, particularly if you're looking for kind of that older age, kind of like Zoomer to younger millennial. Example, if you I'll look at myself as an example. I'm not on TikTok in that fashion. That's not where I go. But I'm the classic, hey, I saw it 3 days later on my Instagram reels. And so having the content, creating the content and sharing it across multiple channels is a great way to go about it. I personally love video content. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to engage. And the cool thing about it today too is you can respond with video as well. You don't even have to write back comments or anything like that. You can have kind of a quick response video that can be done on the spot. So that's my feedback. But what do you think there, Eric?
I think that it is definitely a good means to connect. Although I would say if you're looking at building out video content, I would diversify and spread it amongst things like the YouTube reel shorts and Instagram reels and Facebook and TikTok, because then you're going to hit multiple demographics. For middle adult, young to middle adult patient demographics, I mean, I think it's a good bet. But if you're already making the content, why not repurpose it and find as many people as you can within that demographic across multiple platforms?
Every community is a little bit different as well. I know that, I live here in Aptos, California, and there's a local Facebook group called Aptosia, and things that get posted on there get seen by a lot of people. And that's just a Facebook group, right? So it really depends on who you're looking to get in front of, who you're trying to attract, and where you want to meet them where they want to be. And that takes a little bit of kind of exploration on your side, I would say, and kind of testing things out. Cool. Well, we're almost wrapped up here. So wanted to ask you, Eric, if people are interested in working with you or like to chat with you more about the opportunity of branding, marketing, so on and so forth, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Simple answer is give us a call, fill out the online contact form on our website. I know that the Hint Connect platform has the website linked. So we definitely love to hear from you. The goal of JumpStart is really to be a long-term partner for DPC, to push DPC forward. And so that means that even if there isn't a direct pathway for us to work together right now, we are still happy to be a resource, answer questions like the ones that came up, to for you to understand the key components of building out your marketing strategy, of your branding. And so if you are practice watching and you'd like to give us a call, I'd definitely urge you to do that. We can discuss needs, really tailor a plan that is right for you. And we are here to ultimately help and jumpstart your DPC. That's the name.
Awesome. Eric, thanks again so much for coming on today.
Absolutely.
And look forward to talking to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.